All right, game number 2 will be on Battlefield of Eternity with Team YL 1-0 over Team GIA. Let's get on into it. On the blue side of the battleground, that is Team GIA. And we've got GIA Lumi on Muradin. It's going to be Rival playing as Uther. Blue Way on Diablo. It'll be Alpha rocking the Zeratul and God Dog on Kale Thoughts. Their opponents, Team YL. We've got SBY on Anu Barak. Zhao Di going to be playing as ETC. Liang going to be on Zagara. DD going to be playing Jaina, and rounding out the team is Guiji on Malfurion.
I already like to see this. The Zagara is going for these creep tumor style builds, and I was highlighting the importance of that, especially on this battleground. And since they also have an aggressive team to back that up, they can put a lot of foot forward into this middle space between the two lanes, establish a lot of creep tumors, and have the vision control from the beginning. And we saw this even on their Tomb of the Spider Queen game last week. Once they were able to establish that vision, they felt very, very comfortable.
Alrighty, well, we'll see how they decide to approach it. Right now, it's just some safe poking from both sides, throwing down that Hydralisk onto that bottom tower, and the rotation from Rival and God Dog here. Blue Way in the front line, but ETC able to scout that out. Nicely done.
Another interesting thing that I just noticed, especially with the level 1 pickup for Malfurion on the Innervate ability, that increases the amount of mana they can get back. And there is one hero that's standing out on the side for YL that is quite mana starved, and that is Zagara. Even though they have an aggressive style, if you just pair up a single tri-lane with Jaina, Malfurion, and Zagara, you can get a lot of structural damage done. I think that's about what we're going to see right here.
More roaches, more hydras, a lot of damage. Xiaodi needs to get out of there, power sliding away. Will be able to walk out of that with his life, but Uther has just fallen in the bottom lane.
Okay, and meanwhile, bottom, we do have a warrior battle. Probably not going to see a whole lot of action in this, and another hero is taking out Zeratul. That's 2 in a row now for YL.
All right, a nice start to this game, getting 2 takedowns. This is very akin to the first game. Half-level lead for YL, and we talked about the power, the lockdown that exists for GIA. They really need to capitalize on this, but the creep spread is everywhere. Anytime they try to step out, their vision is just, it's too strong for them.
And we saw the offensive posturing from ETC. He's known to feel very comfortable in these positions. They're throwing down a lot of stuns.
And he's going to be able to power slide out of their banelings, going out a lot of damage, but they did a nice job forcing Team YL off of that Immortal.
Okay, but still a lot of work has been done onto that blue side Immortal. This means, you know, we heard Grubby talking about it. It's just immediately they have the positional advantage and the damage output to dictate how the objective is going to be controlled.
You talked about Innervate. I mean, Liang's being able to keep his mana up pretty high, just throwing spells at the Immortal left and right, even when the team is not there pressuring it. But now that they have bullied GIA away, they will take that Immortal to the half health point where it goes to the halftime show, as we like to call it, and they will now reposition.
Okay, and I also, you know, it was a very good idea to lay the majority of the creep on the top side of this. They knew that that would spawn up there, and if they had control of this, put a little bit of pressure on that top lane, then they would also be able to control that spacing. So far, YL feels very comfortable, I'm noticing, and we have not seen enough pressure being put forward by GIA. They're going to have to change their gameplay.
Yeah, this is tough. I mean, almost level advantage. We do see the fourth Immortal is picked up, and it has about 60% of its power, so we now pick one lane and then pressure it heavily. It's going to be the bottom lane. That's why we see this split push happening right now. All of the members of YL have made their way to the top, and they're starting to put the power on.
Yeah, no ammunition left in this top tower. This is a very formidable push. They're going to have to spend some resources dealing with this Immortal in the bottom lane, for now throwing the spells out, depleting his shield. But he's going to get a large amount of work.
Goodness, a massive stun. Blinking out of their Alpha will end up falling regardless. 3 members have fallen, and YL is just on absolute fire.
You know, Uther's pretty useful in that ghost form when he has the chance to heal somebody, but everyone fell so quickly, weren't even able to get any use out of that trait. And if we thought maybe a fort, if that was too greedy, I don't know about that.
Could be the Immortal still has almost its entire health. Well, sure, the shields are gone. The top fort is going to end up going down. The Immortal being supported by Anu Barak has done just as much damage, it seems. Both forts incredibly weak.
And this sets us up for a 2-level advantage. And if they manage to finish off that fort, it's going to be even further ahead. And if you have that setup where a lot of heroics are going to be the kingpin for your team, on either side having a 2-level timing window to push forward on that, that's going to be rough.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. All right, YL, they pick up the top bruiser camp. The bottom bruiser camp was scouted out by a new Barak, so they have eyes on. They're just trying to control as much as they can. But of course, we're going to see the Fallen Shamans picked up here on the left side.
Okay, pushing forward with that mercenary camp. I like that they didn't get too aggressive trying to take out that fort. It's easy to overextend in those situations. They knew that they had some control. They could just back up, take the mercenary camp. They knew that fort was all but guaranteed.
Okay, well, that's going to be another Merc camp here collected on the right side. And they're just, it's all about map control. They don't want to fight. They have no reason to overextend into the enemy's base because that, of course, is an unnecessary risk. They know they have the top keep, the top fort already down, and the bottom fort will be their target once they make their way down here and look for a fight. But level 7 has just been reached for GIA.
So the game plan here, I would think for YL, is to just play as safely as possible. There's going to be that 2-minute gap between when that last Immortal dies and when the next phase pops up. Just play safe and get to level 10. Knowing this, I need to see something aggressive out of GIA. If they let that timing window happen, it's going to be a problem. We see ETC diving in. Sorry, Diablo.
Yeah, Blue Way manages to steal the mercenary camp, but is he overextended? ETC dashes through. A lot of damage is raining down, but the posture is pretty good. They find Jane out of position. DD does not go, but it's a trade 1-for-1. Both the mages have fallen. The heals coming out for Blue Way. Not going to be enough still. A 2-for-1 for YL.
I can appreciate the attempt, though. They had to make something happen to grab that mercenary camp. A good stun from SBY. Now, so we need to see more play. I mean, that was really they had to go for something, right? Now level 10's upon us. This Immortal phase is all but going to YL for sure.
It's going to be so tough to defend this. I mean, like you said, no heroics. Top lane is already exposed. They need to push it back out. They don't want those forts, those towers taking any additional damage. And it's really just GIA's game to lose. But if we could find someone in a position like that good attempt to try to get Jowdy just too good with that power slide.
I think at this point you have to all but abandon the objective if you're on GIA. Look for some ways to force positioning out of these backline heroes. Liang, at this point, if he was able to get Shadow Charged and they were able to connect all of their stuns together, that could be a great way to get back into this. But they have to be so careful. The disengage is going to be strong, especially with that Ring of Frost picked up.
Okay, yeah, Ring of Frost, Tranquility. It is going to be the Locust Swarm stage dive and then Moss. Stage dive, we have not seen that in solo. Is this like overconfidence or is it split push?
There's there's so many ways to put it. If you have, it's a slow and an AoE, that's also going to set up for the Ring of Frost play. Being able to apply those together, you have Maw as well. If a large Maw is hit, you're going to get a lot of value out of Ring of Frost. All of these fit well together, yes, with Mosh Pit, but you can also set up for these things with Stage Dive.
Xiaodi might have been a little bit too ham as he gets Shadow Charged and then picked off here in the top lane, but the problem being is the enemy team has already pushed through this bottom fort and they are knocking on this bottom wall. We see a full hearth coming out for Team GIA. They need to defend their bottom keep.
Okay, but they have their heroics just about. Level 10 around the corner. We're probably going to see that Void Prison, Divine Shield, Phoenix, Avatar, and it is going to be the Apocalypse.
Apocalypse has been picked up. The VP hits 3 targets. This is a huge play from GIA. The Phoenix is laid down. Maw hits 2 targets. Apocalypse doing critical damage to the Tranquility. Was way too slow. The Shadow Charge, the flip on Malfurion. GIA's defense is impeccable, and they are barreling for it. Malfurion goes down. Huge plays. Godok with the Greg Lip stays alive. The Beatles doing so much damage, but the Imperial connect.
Nice. That was a very, very good fight, though, I have to say. And that is the type of play that we need to see out of GIA. SBY is not going to be able to escape at this point. What we're looking at, there are 4-for-1 advantage, even with that level deficit.
Kubi, it's a 4-for-1, but they lost their keep 8 minutes into this game. They had to turn around with a full power Immortal that made it all the way to the core. Sure, didn't do any damage there, but in the end, that was still well worth the cost of experience they gave out.
From the other side, though, GIA has to make a play, and that really probably shook up YL a little bit. They see now the potential of their team fight, and that was an amazing Void Prison, catching 3 people with it, following it up with the Apocalypse. They're showing a lot of potential, and then being able to throw out the damage after they have the survivability with Divine Shield. They can really do a big number, especially disengaging the potential for YL in these fights.
All right, well, we'll have to see how it all pans out. Level 13 just reached, so there is a small window where there is, of course, a talent tier advantage for Team YL. GIA just playing safe in the backline, picking up some mercenary camps, regaining some control on the battleground. This is absolutely crucial to make sure that bottom lane doesn't push in too far with the catapults now that their keep has fallen.
Other thing to keep in mind as well is that Void Prison does have a very long cooldown. It is absolutely the initiator that needs to come into play for GIA. That could be a small window if there's the ability to bait out that ability in any way without losing too many heroes, or even after a fight that happens, you might be able to find that window to push in against GIA.
Again, just kind of regaining their composure on the battleground, trying to play safe until the Immortals spawn once again. The third phase will in fact spark a fight, as things are quite even in terms of experience, but there's no reason to get a little bit too over-aggressive at this point in the game. Oh, I like this, though.
This is smart, yes, absolutely. They know that the Immortal phase is going to be popping up. There it is, the timer for it. And if they can stall this out, capture this just as the Immortals spawn up, that is going to be a little bit of a distraction going down in the opposing lane while the other teams are contesting the Immortal. Really just making full use of the map objectives.
Yeah, it's something we're starting to see more and more in competitive play, and it's nicely done, but GIA, they're the first team to make it to the Immortal, so they're burning through that health bar, and they will be the team to get it down to 50% first. This will, once again, reset the Immortals, they'll reposition on the battleground, and this is when you're going to see YL often look for that defense.
Have to be careful of that creep spread. There is some vision available, and those are the two tanks that are looking to set their sights to start this fight.
Very even in terms of the Immortal health pool. Both teams in a defensive posture, trying to keep their Immortal alive. One initiation is all it takes to get a takedown. We have Nubrag, ETC on one side, Muradin paired with Diablo on the other. So many stuns available, and wow, Zeratul took a lot of hits there.
Alpha has to be careful again. He is the kingpin for the team. If that Void Prison is taken out too early and doesn't get to be casted, well, that's going to be lights out for GIA. It's going to be very difficult to set up an Apocalypse.
Okay, Stormbolt just hunting for DD, does not connect. A huge backwards position for Blue Wave, just trying to make sure there's no flanks happening from that right side, and a lot of posturing while the light damage is being applied. This is something we talked about in the draft, the fact that they can poke a little bit better on the side of GIA, that's really starting to shine through because they've now taken the lead in terms of the Immortal health bar.
Really like that they were able to throw down those stuns, making sure they could take, okay, we have the Maw catching two people.
Two-man Maw, ETC looking to zone. Ringer Frost goes down, but Divine Shield doesn't completely negate that. A beautiful Void Prison, but this does in fact stop the hit from that Apocalypse. Ice Block has to be used by Malfurion, keeping the team alive. This is a very scrappy fight, and Kale Thoughts will be the first one to go down. Blue Wave diving and trying to save Lalumi. They're both in such a bad spot. Dwarf Toss even falls. They're 3-0 in favor of Team YL.
All of a sudden, this looks really bad, and ETC stage dives just to cover the retreat point. That is going to be a lot of heroes down for GIA. Yes, Diablo is able to respawn thanks to his trait, but man, the Void Prison really just locking out the couple shots from the Apocalypse. That was so, it was awful to see because that's what they're riding on so much to take these fights.
Now they can actually see Alpha with that creep threat. The Shimmer does exist, so that's why we see Jaina trying to hunt him down. This will definitely be an Immortal win, and the last thing to point out from this entire fight is the fact that the Bruiser camp pushed through all the towers, and that top keep has taken some damage already. The Immortal will go for that throw in that top lane.
Okay, but what the play right now, Alpha is just going to be able to hearth back, no problem, and they will be defending against this Immortal push.
With level 16 on top of it, Kubi, this is going to be a very difficult defense, but they've shown they can do it again. 22 seconds until Void Prison is ready. That is the crucial aspect that they need for this fight.
Absolutely have to stall. Again, I have to highlight that Malfurion has more heal over time, so if we see like those really long drawn-out poking fights between the two teams, it's going to go to YL. There has to be a decisive move made by GIA to take this fight and push back this Immortal.
Still 2 seconds till that VP is ready. The keep is getting incredibly low. Immortal will be able to take it out here, so that is both keeps down on the side, but VP this time gets two targets. That's quite good. Apocalypse use. The Wombo connects on just Zagara this time, and the Maw completely nullifies their approach. YL is going to knock them over the ring. Frost does so much damage. Alpha blinks in, has to blink away. Ice Block enough to stay alive, and that is again 3-0 in favor of YL. They could look to end it right here.
An absolutely amazing adjustment. Just save the Maw. As soon as that Void Prison is up and the heroes try to move in to follow up against the Apocalypse, you throw that Maw down to completely disengage.
And just like that, Team YL will end the game a 2-0 victory over GIA. They will advance to the next round in the Heroes of the Storm World Championship here at Blizzcon 2015. GG!
So well played, just incredible execution from YL to get all of their heroics together and even making that adaptation on the fly, throwing out the Maw, just completely use that as a disengage to say, we are the more adaptable team. Even though we wanted to have the aggressive style going into the team fights, we can make adaptations and really just crush your plan completely.
I mean, after one team fight B, but on the side of Group A, that's Cloud9 that advanced to the top 4. In the lower bracket, we just saw Team YL defeat GIA 2-0, which means that later today, it's going to be Team YL versus Team Dignitas.
I got my wish, Jake. I get the rematch between YL and Dignitas.